interesting. People think that they get stereotyped because they look Mexican, whereas me, my first incident of being stereotyped was not being, I guess, the actual stereotype that they expect me to be. So when people talk about this, like, it's not necessarily, I would say, like, as black and white. I mean, even when I joined my fraternity back in Emporia State, and my fraternity brothers knew that I was openly gay, they stereotyped me for not being gay enough, I guess, as their expectation. So it's interesting, like, when we deal with stereotypes, that there's such a norm for what we expect out of, like, certain cultural groups and whatnot, that when we see an individual out of that cultural group that doesn't necessarily portray the norms of those type of characteristics, that people can stereotype others for the inverse of what we normally deal with in our society.
That is a very interesting perspective. Thank you for that. Absolutely. And we run into that in black culture. You know, if a black person has been raised perhaps like in the suburbs, and you know, culturally, like I remember when I was at it's Hawthorne now. I came in a little bit late in the semester, and the teacher made me come up in front of the class and said, "Don't do that," and introduce myself, right? And, so, and I remember as I was talking, someone whispered, "He talks like a white boy." And that stigma stuck with me that whole year. In that one moment, you know, I was, in a way, similarly, like the inverse, I guess you said, of the stereotype. So thank you for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Your statement sort of like made me think about, you know, we talk about stereotypes, right? Basically, it's something that, you know, our society creates some generalization based on like a certain group of people. But my question is, when will it be acceptable or non-acceptable for other people to sort of like imitate or use those characteristics? So I'm talking about cultural appropriation or cultural misappropriation.
I got you, sure.
So say, for example, chopstick, which is can be used as like a symbol or a stereotype for Asian people, right? What if you know, some other people, yeah, I'm Asian, some other people will use that as what, for high fashion, for example, and then it becomes cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, for example, Iggy Azalea was questioned when she put her hair. When she, what is that, cornrow? Or, something like that. So when is it appropriate or acceptable or respectable for other cultures, especially the dominant culture, to use some of the elements that minority cultures have?
I don't know that there's an answer, or that's very subjective, I would say, and I think you kind of have to judge it on a case-by-case basis. You know, I've always appreciated Bonnie Raitt. I don't listen to her music a lot, but you know, the fact that a lot of her music is rooted in the blues and African American culture, I think she's extremely talented, but also is very open about the fact that she honors this, the cultural significance of blues music. And in that instance, I don't feel like it is appropriation. But then conversations about Elvis and what he was doing, that evokes something different in terms of how I feel about
like Bruno Mars, for example. He was,
But I like Bruno.
It's one of the questions that I ask my students.
Sure.
Is Bruno Mars culturally appropriating black music, for example? Because you know, some people are saying he's playing that he's racial ambiguous. You know,
sure.
is he? He's Filipino, and he's also you know, a mixture of, you know, the dad was Puerto Rican and so on and so forth. So some people are saying that he's playing that racial ambiguity card and sort of like using that so he can. So for other people, yeah.
Did all the
Mr. Ed, one of the things that about Bruno Mars, if you do some research on him, is that he he always talks about the people that he takes from in terms of that these are people that were his heroes, and he mentions this litany of the blues and performers, and so in that way, his humility, because he was doing this as a child, he was actually performing as a child, and that was part of his history. So I think sometimes the humility in which if you use that, and if you give honor due where it's due, that it can make a difference. I don't know that, and I don't know that it's, for the most radical person, it's not going to be enough because they don't want that used. But it's a starting place.
Yeah, I think that's key too. Like for some people, like we're approaching Halloween, for example. Some people use the Native American headdress just for fashion. They didn't understand, the origin and the reason why Native Americans use that. Well, some people just use that for fashion.
Right, in sports.
All right, so,
Perfect.
where are we going? Okay.
We've got time, we're okay.
Part of that too is kind of like cultural things that are kind of specific to each culture group.
Mm-hmm.
If we do it as part of our culture, it's seen as like